This is Eileen Fee of Transform Your Body Fitness. I'm a physical therapist and a fitness coach. And what do I have for you today? We're continuing our series on comparing this to that. So what are we comparing? We're comparing regular butter to grass-fed butter to what's called ghee or clarified butter. And here's the thing. A lot of people are saying, but why are you introducing butter to us? We should be staying away from butter. We're told that that increases our chances of heart disease because it increases our cholesterol level. Bad answer. Here's what I'm going to say. What you need to take away from this is that it's good to include butter into your diet. It depends on what kind of butter, but butter is better than the vegetable oils that, you know, the regular vegetable oils and the canola oil, the soybean oil. Stay away from those things. Butter is the better choice. Now, with that said, yes, it definitely increases cholesterol, and it does increase your saturated fats. So you do need to take, you have to limit them. You include them in your diet, but make sure you're not going hog wild. You have to make sure you're responsible and limiting the amount of saturated fat in your diet. Now, the biggest difference between the butters is the color. This is regular butter. And this is the color of grass-fed butter. Trying to get you to see the difference here. There is a deeper yellow color versus, say, the regular butter is more whitish yellow. That deeper yellow color will tell you that it has more nutrients in it. So the thing is with butter, yes, it's a saturated fat. So it's high in fat and fairly low. It has some vitamins and things in there, but they're on the lower side. Grass-fed butter, because it's coming from a cow that basically has been very well fed and very well taken care of on a farm that lets it graze around versus letting it be in a type of a stable that are just lined up with machines hooked to them. So it makes a difference how the cows are fed and how they're treated. And the bottom line is so where does milk come from? Milk, as I just said, because it comes from the cow, that we all have to find out what kind of, how the cow is treated. But basically milk is what comes from the cow, and then you shake it up, and then what happens is that butter fat, milk fats, and water are produced. And then that is what makes the butter. Okay? Now, versus the clarified butter, you could actually take that butter that's been made from the cow, the grass-fed cow. That's what we're trying to get you to move towards. And basically, you cook it longer so that you're taking the milk fats out and you're removing the water and you're left with the butter fat. So let me show you what the color of the clarified or the ghee butter looks like. It's a very deep yellowish orange color. Now let's compare that color to the grass-fed butter. So you can see the difference. They both are good for you, but the higher color indicates more vitamins, especially vitamin A. They both are loaded with vitamin A, D, E, and K, but this deeper color with the clarified ghee butter indicates an extremely high amount of vitamin A. So there's nutrition to be gained from butter, and a lot of people don't realize that because they only concentrate on the fat. Now, let's begin to say because that's the difference now between the butter and, say, the grass-fed and the ghee butter, is that it's the nutrients. Regular butter basically is just the fat. Grass-fed butter, because of the cow ingesting good nutrients, the nutrients are being passed to you. So with that said, there's also a difference in the butyrate that's contained in both. Grass-fed cows pass on to the milk, and therefore the butter that they produce is butyrate. And butyrate is an incredible anti-inflammatory type of agent, and it helps to decrease all kinds of stomach problems, irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's disease, ulcers, all kinds of things that, inflame the stomach as well as the intestines. It helps to generate good flora, GI flora, for good GI health. It also helps because it's something that will increase your metabolism, so it really helps to decrease weight. So it gives you weight loss type of benefit. The thing that actually creates also the difference between these two butters, butter, right, whether it's grass-fed or regular butter, has what's called casein and lactose in it. Ghee butter or clarified butter, is no lactose and no casein. So if you therefore take a look at that, lactose is a big problem for a lot of people. They're allergic to lactose, and they're told to stay away from butter because it's going to make them sick and not feel well. So if you're that kind of a person, definitely don't be afraid of using ghee butter. You can go back to using having butter in your diet, but you have to use the ghee butter because there's no lactose in it. Now, therefore it creates a difference because casein is in butter, and that gives it butter its creamy type of texture to it. Because there's no casein or lactose in ghee butter, it'll tend to be a little bit more on the oily type of side. But I will tell you, taste-wise, as you know, butter tastes phenomenal, and that's why we're all attracted to butter, and that's why people are like, oh, I can't believe I have to give up butter. You don't have to give up butter, just have to limit it. But as far as the taste of ghee butter, it actually, they'll tell you, it's a more nuttier and a more buttery type of taste than butter. So they both taste really good. Now, again, because of the differences of casein and lactose being in regular butter versus not being in ghee, that makes a difference in what's called the smoking point or the cooking point, meaning when does it start to burn. With butter, whether it be grass-fed or regular butter, the burning point is 350 degrees, whereas ghee butter, the smoking point isn't until 485 degrees. So it's very stable, and it's because there's no casein and no lactose in there. So it's very good, for example, for pan frying and sauteing. You don't have to worry about it burning and becoming unstable. Whereas I'm going to say probably if you're baking, if you want to keep good texture when you're baking, it's probably better to use butter. But don't use the regular butter, use the grass-fed butter because there's nutrients in here. So again, as far as there's differences between the ghee clarified butter versus the grass-fed butter, but there's times when you want to use one or the other. So another example might be if you've ever heard of bulletproof coffee, and that is where instead of putting milk in your coffee, you're putting butter in your coffee, because again, you're deriving not only a good source of fat, meaning the saturated fats, because it's coming from a natural source, but you're also having it increase your metabolism, but it's giving that creamy flavor to the coffee. And so people have used grass-fed butter for a while, but now people are switching over to using the ghee butter because it's providing all of those same healthy benefits, and all the nutrients that you're deriving, because again, it's very highly nutritious, but it won't froth as much as it would, because again, there's no casein in there. So if you use the grass-fed butter, you might get a little bit of a frothy, type of a latte kind of a look to it if you really try to froth it up. But the ghee butter, you're not going to get that because it has a little bit more of an oily substance to it. Now, what's interesting, you can actually, if you've heard me talk about coconut oil and ghee are very similar because they both have what are called short chain and medium chain fatty acids, meaning they break down very easy so the body can use it and really, become very healthy because of being able to put the body in a position to take care of itself. So this is where, again, there's a lot of nutrients too there. You can use it actually for your skin, your hair, just like coconut oil. There's multiple uses other than just by ingesting it internally. So here's the bottom line. We were trying to compare the different kind of butters. What you want to make some good healthy choices when you're in the dairy aisle and you need to pick out butter. I'm going to tell you, forget about buying regular butter. If you need to, I would say buy actually both the grass-fed butter and the Ghee clarified butter, because there's times when you need to use one versus the other. Hope you understand some of these differences and how to use them. If you have any questions, message me. I'd love to help you out and answer any further questions. The bottom line here, I wanted to give this comparison to you and educate you on this so that you can make very, very good healthy choices, because it's about staying as healthy as you can for as long as you can. Have a great day, everybody.